places a lot of his investments in this topic. Muslim narrates on the authority of Jabir that the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Inna Iblisa yada'u arshahu ala al-ma'." Iblis establishes his throne upon water. ثُمَّ يَبْعَثُ سَرَايَاهُ. Then he sends out his troops to cause corruption. He said, فَأَدْنَاهُمْ مِنْهُ مَنْزِلَةً أَعْظَمُهُمْ فِتْنَةً. And at the end of that evening, the shaitani troop who will be nearest to Iblis is the one who causes most corruption. يَجِيءُ أَحَدُهُمْ فَيَقُولُ فَعَلْتُ كَذَا وَكَذَا. They will report back to their lead, Shaitan Iblis, and they will say, I did such and such. Corruption. Iblis will say, مَا فَعَلْتَ شَيْئًا. You've done nothing. Then a second one will come and he will say, مَا تَرَكْتُهُ حَتَّى فَرَّقْتُ بَيْنَهُ وَبَيْنَ امْرَأَتِهِ. I did not leave those two married individuals till I separated between them. Then Iblis will say to him, نِعْمَ أَنْتَ. You are the one. And in another narration of Al-A'mash, he adds, وَيَلْتَزِمُهُ. And he brings him near to him. You are the one. You've separated between husband and wife. This is it. And as a rule, my brother, my sister, when Shaitan puts his money for a cause, we are to pay attention. He has invested so much time and effort, and his men, into destroying the institution of marriage. Maqsadun shaytani. It is a satanic ambition to see divorce a feature of a society. And when you ask yourself the question, why does he invest so much time and effort in this? Well, you look at the ramifications of divorce. In many cases, not all, but in many and sometimes most, the husband is derailed from his religion. And he's now experimenting. Left, right and center, he's off the hook, he's off the leash. The wife, she may behave in a wild way, decline in her religion, and find ways to harm her ex-husband by depriving him from seeing the children or any other way to upset him and harm him, cause pain. And as for the children, حَدِّثْ وَلَا حَرَجْ. Allahul Musta'an, what happens to the children who come from a broken home? In most cases, not all. Ian Duncan Smith, who is the ex-Work and Pension Secretary of the UK, he said that children who come out of broken homes are 9 times more likely to commit crime than children who come out from stable homes. Other statistics, they say that children who come from a broken home are more likely to be obese than they are to be healthy. Children nowadays are more likely to have a smartphone than they are a father. Children nowadays, if trends continue in the UK as they are at this moment in time, there is a 1 in 3 chance that children before the age of 15 will not be in a home with a mother and father, but with one or the other. It is a musibah, it's a calamity. And the tsunami of marital breakdown is battering the coasts of humanity, not just the Muslims. Take a look at the statistics. It's not just us who are being affected. It's a worldwide phenomena. There is an issue. In the 1930s, 1 in 7 marriages ended in divorce in America. In the 1960s, 1 in 4 marriages ended in divorce. And now in modern day times, it's around 1 in 2 marriages will end in divorce in the United States. In China, there is a huge surge now in the filings for divorce, so much so that courts are now requiring couples to carry out an exam before they can file for a divorce to try to limit it. And then when you turn to a country like Egypt, with one of the biggest Muslim populations, certainly in the Arab world, there is a divorce that's happening there every 2 minutes. In Pakistan, the ex-Prime Minister Imran Khan, he raised a flag. He was concerned and he spoke about his concern for the rising levels of divorce in Pakistan. And then when you turn to the Arab world, it is just as devastating, if not worse. In 2014, it was documented that in parts of Saudi Arabia, divorce is reaching up to 60% of marriages. In 2013, there was a report that spoke about the divorces in Qatar. And in 2014, in the UAE, Qatar and the UAE suffering a divorce rate of approximately 70% of marriages that are ending in divorce. It's a musibah, it's a catastrophe. And so much is being applied to reverse this trend. You've got dowry caps, group weddings, people are loaning people money to give their mahar, their dowry, in financial incentives, penalties for divorce. Nothing is working. Where does this sit with our Quran when Allah said, Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu idha talaqtumun nisa? O Prophet, if you divorce women. Look at the particle here of the conditional particle of idha. Yeah? Ash-shartiyya. Idha. If you happen to divorce, then you divorced at the idda period. Meaning it's not supposed to be the norm. And then when you look into the misery that comes into the life of a human being, when they are going through marital discord, it really prevents them from becoming the true worshipper of Allah Almighty in many cases. Why? Because the heart is a vessel. And if that vessel is filled with gham, grief, misery, and pain, and shouting, and fighting, how are you going to fill that vessel with the worship of Allah, the ta'zeem of Allah, the glorification of Allah? مَا جَعَلَ اللَّهُ لِرَجُلٍ مِّن قَلْبَيْنِ فِي جَوْفِهِ. No man has two hearts in his chest. Grief. I'm trying to build a case for you, dear brother, dear sister, why we are speaking about this topic. And there was a study that was done by two psychiatrists in 1967 by Thomas Holmes and Richard Raha, where what they did was that they took a sample of 5,000 patients. And essentially they were trying to establish whether there is a link between stress and illness. Does stress cause illness? So they brought 5,000 patients and they presented them with a series of 43 life events. Death, divorce, bankruptcy, 43 disasters that a person can experience, and each one of these life experiences had a particular scoring and a weight to correspond to the stress. And each event which the patient added up to, or each event which the patient added, meant that the score was higher. And if the score was higher, it means the stress was higher. And if the stress was higher, it means the likelihood to become ill was higher. Then they looked at the list of the most stressful events that can lead to illness and death, and they found, number 1, death of a spouse. Number 2, divorce. Number 3, marital separation. And the top 3 of the list of stressful events that causes illness and death are all around the breakdown of a marriage. So the matter is serious, dear brothers and sisters. And something needs to be done about this. As you have found out, as Muslims, we are no exception to the rule that marriages are decaying left, right and center. So much so that if you see a Muslim couple who are happy, you say, MashaAllah, may Allah protect them from the evil eye. This is strange. They haven't divorced yet. And you see the prenuptial agreements between husband and wife before they marry, as if to say, it's not till death do us part, it's till divorce do us part. Subhanallah. The assumption is divorce. So they're sat, instead of sitting with a sheikh, they are sat with a lawyer before they get married. Where do the assets go in the case of a divorce?